There's a particular kind of loneliness that comes from being surrounded by people who love you. It's not the loneliness of an empty room. It's not the silence of a house where no one calls your name anymore. It's the loneliness of standing in your own kitchen, listening to your daughter laugh with her fiancé in the next room, and realizing they stopped including you in the joke 6 months ago. It's the loneliness of being called mom, but feeling like a guest in your own life. I know this loneliness now. I didn't always. There was a time when my kitchen was the center of everything, when the smell of Blue Mountain coffee on a Sunday morning meant family, meant connection, meant home. There was a time when my daughter and I would sit at that same kitchen table every Friday evening, reviewing the week, planning the future, being present with each other. But somewhere along the way, I lost her. Or maybe she lost me. Or maybe we lost each other in the space between ambition and attention, between building an empire and building a relationship. I didn't know it then, but that afternoon at Whitmore's boutique, 2 days before my daughter's wedding, would be the last time I recognized myself. Let me tell you how it started. Not with the betrayal, but with the coffee. Sunday mornings, 1995 to 2009, my husband William made the best coffee in Connecticut. That's not sentiment talking, that's fact. He'd drive all the way to a little shop in Harlem every month to get Blue Mountain beans, the kind his grandmother used to make when he was growing up in Brooklyn. He'd grind them fresh every Sunday morning while I was still in bed, and the smell would pull me downstairs like a gentle hand. By the time I reached the kitchen, he'd have everything ready. 2 cups on the yellow tablecloth I'd bought at a flea market in 1987, the business section folded beside his plate, the arts section beside mine. Miles Davis would be playing softly from the record player. Kind of Blue. Always Kind of Blue on Sunday mornings. The light came through the kitchen window in a particular way on those mornings. Golden, soft, the kind of light that makes you believe everything is going to be okay. And for 14 years of Sunday mornings, everything was. Jasmine would stumble down around 9, still in her pajamas, homework spread across the other end of that same table. She'd steal sips of William's coffee when he wasn't looking, make a face at the bitterness, then steal another sip 5 minutes later. "Baby girl," William would say without looking up from his paper, "if you want coffee, I'll make you some." "I don't want coffee, Daddy. I'm just making sure yours is good enough." He'd smile. I'd smile. We were whole. We were whole. And I didn't even know how precious that was. William planted an oak tree in our backyard the year we bought the house. 1995. The company had just turned its first real profit, and he said we needed to mark the moment, make it permanent. He chose oak because his grandmother told him, "Strong roots mean strong growth." He'd tend that tree every Saturday afternoon, Jasmine helping him, both of them covered in soil, laughing about something I could never quite hear from the kitchen window. He grew tomatoes from seeds his grandmother had saved, passed down through 3 generations, the smell of fresh soil after rain, the weight of ripe tomatoes in your hands, the way Jasmine would run inside, holding one up like a trophy. "Mama, look, we did it!" Those are the things I remember now. Those small, perfect things. Sunday services at Bethel AME Church. William on the usher board, his deep voice greeting everyone. "Good morning, sister. Good morning, brother." Me leading the women's ministry, organizing potlucks and prayer circles. Jasmine in the youth choir, her voice clear and strong even at 10 years old. The congregation called him Brother Morrison. They called me Sister Catherine. We belonged to something bigger than ourselves. A community that had carried us through hard times, celebrated our victories, held us when we grieved. Sister Johnson's peach cobbler at every potluck, the way the church basement smelled like fried chicken and collard greens on the first Sunday of every month. The sound of hands clapping during praise and worship, voices rising together, 100 people becoming one voice, one spirit, one family. This was our world. This was our foundation. Strong roots, and I thought it would last forever. Building Morrison and Associates, 1987 to 2009. Let me tell you what it's like to be a black woman trying to get a business loan in 1987. You walk into the bank in your best suit, the one you saved 3 months to buy. You bring your business plan, typed and bound, every number verified twice. You sit across from a man who looks at you like you're asking for a miracle instead of a loan. "Mrs. Morrison," he says, your business plan unopened on his desk. "Have you considered starting smaller, perhaps a catering business? I understand you people are very good at that." You people. William squeezed my hand under the table. I smiled. We left. We went to 12 banks. 12 no thank yous delivered with varying degrees of politeness. The last one didn't even pretend. "We don't finance high-risk ventures." High risk. 2 college-educated professionals with a solid business plan. High risk. We finance the company ourselves. Savings. Second mortgages. And when that wasn't enough, we went to the church. Brother Hayes, who worked at the post office. Sister Washington, who cleaned offices at night. Brother Thomas, who drove a bus. 23 families from Bethel AME Church invested in Morrison and Associates Consulting. Not because they understood strategic consulting, but because they understood us. We ran the business from our basement for the first 3 years. William handled operations. He could organize anything, see systems where I only saw chaos. I handled strategy, client relations, the vision. We worked 16-hour days. We missed dinners. We missed sleep. But we never missed Sunday morning coffee. The breakthrough came in 1995. TechCorp Solutions, a mid-sized software company in Stamford, took a chance on us. 1 contract, 6 months. Prove yourself. We proved ourselves. By 1997, we had 12 clients. By 2028. By 2005, our revenue hit $8 million. We employed 40 people, 70% from the Black community. We weren't just building a business. We were building opportunity. William and I, we made sense together. He saw details. I saw the big picture. He was patient. I was driven. He calmed me down when I wanted to fire a difficult client. I pushed him forward when he wanted to play it safe. We were partners. In business, in marriage, in everything. And then June 10th, 2009 happened. The day everything changed, William died at his desk. Heart attack. Massive. The doctors said he probably didn't feel much pain, if that's supposed to be comforting. He was 52 years old, born in 1957, married me when I was 19 and he was 26, gave me 33 years of Sunday morning coffee and Saturday afternoon gardens, and a love so steady I forgot it was holding me up. Until it wasn't. The funeral was small. I stood at his grave with Jasmine beside me. She was 20 years old, home from Columbia for the summer, and I made a promise out loud, in front of God and everybody. "We'll survive this." I didn't know if I believed it, but I said it anyway. The company was drowning, $800,000 in debt. Clients were leaving, some respectfully, some not. Everyone told me to sell, cash out, take what you can get, start over. I didn't. Not because I was brave, because I was angry. Angry at God for taking William. Angry at the world for expecting me to disappear quietly. Angry at every person who ever looked at me and saw you people. I worked 80-hour weeks. I renegotiated every contract personally. I called in every favor William and I had ever earned. I rebuilt from nothing. Jasmine graduated from Columbia in 2010 and came home. "I want to help, Mama." "You sure, baby? This is going to be hard." "I know, but it's Dad's legacy. It's our legacy. I want to fight for it." She started at the bottom. Entry-level analyst. No special treatment. I made that clear to everyone, including her. She worked late nights, took the clients no one else wanted, proved herself. By 2014, we'd climbed out of debt. Revenue hit $12 million. By 2019, $25 million. Jasmine had worked her way to Vice President of Operations. 11 years of earning it, step by step. She was brilliant. Everything William and I had hoped she'd become. Strategic mind, people skills, work ethic that reminded me of her father. That year, 2019, I promoted her to Chief Operating Officer. She was 31, young, yes, but ready. Leonard Hayes, our senior vice president and William's old college roommate, raised an eyebrow when I announced it at the board meeting. "She's ready," I told him. She was. Or I thought she was. The Friday night ritual. After William died, Jasmine and I created our own ritual. Friday evenings. Just the two of us. Dinner at the kitchen table. That same yellow tablecloth William had spilled coffee on 1,000 times. We'd review the week, celebrate wins, strategize around problems. Sometimes we'd talk about business for 3 hours. Sometimes we'd just eat in comfortable silence, both of us too tired to do anything but exist in each other's presence. Those Friday nights kept me sane. Dad would be so proud, Jasmine said one evening in 2018. We'd just landed our biggest contract, a 3-year deal with a Fortune 500 company. "You did it, Mama. You saved everything he built." I touched William's photograph on the mantle, the one from 1995, the day we bought the house. "We did it together, baby. You and me." She smiled. That smile that reminded me so much of William, it hurt. I should have held on to that moment longer. Should have memorized it. Should have known that nothing good lasts forever, no matter how strong the roots. William kept a leather journal. Deep burgundy, soft from years of handling, with his initials embossed in gold. WJM. He wrote in it every Sunday after church. Business ideas, personal reflections, prayers. After he died, I couldn't touch it for a year. Then one Sunday, I opened it and read every entry. His handwriting, his thoughts, his voice still speaking to me. I started writing in it myself. Continued where he left off. Business strategies, notes about Jasmine's progress, my own prayers on hard days, the smell of the leather, the weight of it in my hands, the way the pen moved across the paper. It felt like maintaining a connection to him, like he was still here, still my partner, still holding me up. Every Sunday morning, I'd sit at the kitchen table with William's coffee and his journal and write. Jasmine knew not to interrupt. That hour was sacred. I wrote in that journal for 10 years, and then I stopped. I didn't notice when, exactly. Didn't make a conscious decision. Just stopped. One Sunday became 2, became a month, became 6 months. When I finally picked it up again, the last entry was dated December 15th, 2023. 6 months of silence. 6 months of forgetting to talk to William. The entry said, "Jasmine is worried about me. Maybe she's right." I don't remember writing that. Year 1. Isaiah Bennett arrives, January 2022. Jasmine brought him to a board meeting on a Tuesday in January. "Everyone, this is Isaiah Bennett, Yale MBA, 12 years at Whitman & Associates. He's consulting with us on financial strategy restructuring." Isaiah stood at the front of the conference room like he'd been born there. 6'2", well-tailored suit, confidence that didn't ask for permission. He had a way of making eye contact with each person in the room, just long enough to make you feel seen. "Thank you for having me," he said. "I've reviewed Morrison & Associates financials, and I'm impressed. What you've built here, especially in this market, is remarkable." He looked at me. "Mrs. Morrison, your leadership after your husband's passing, it's inspiring. Not many people could have done what you did." I felt seen, appreciated, validated. That was Isaiah's gift. He made you feel like the most important person in the room. Leonard Hayes leaned over after the meeting. "Impressive guy." "Yes," I said, "he is." By March, I'd hired Isaiah as our CFO. The board approved unanimously. He was smart, strategic, brought fresh perspective. He understood the numbers in a way that complemented Jasmine's operational expertise. In June, Jasmine mentioned they'd gone to dinner a few times. Just casual, Mama, getting to know each other outside of work. By October, they were living together. By December, engaged. Everything happened fast. But Jasmine was 33, not a child. She knew what she wanted. And Isaiah seemed perfect, ambitious like her, smart like her father, charming in a way that put clients at ease. I was happy for her. I was. The first crack, March 2022. It was small, So small I almost missed it. Board meeting, mid-March. I was presenting Q1 projections, strong numbers ahead of target. I was explaining our strategy for Q2 when Isaiah interrupted. I think what Catherine is trying to say is that we need to consolidate our client acquisition focus on the tech sector. The ROI is significantly higher than our current diversified approach. I stopped mid-sentence, looked at him. That's exactly what I'd just said. Word for word, just rephrased. The board nodded. That makes sense, Isaiah. Good thinking. Leonard glanced at me, eyebrow raised. I continued my presentation, but something felt off, like I'd been erased and rewritten in the same breath. After the meeting, I mentioned it to Jasmine. Oh, Mama, I think he was just trying to support your point. You know how the board is. Sometimes they hear things better from different voices. Different voices. I knew what that meant. Male voices. I'd spent 35 years in business fighting that battle. I didn't want to fight it in my own boardroom, not with my daughter's fiancé. So I let it go. The courtship and the wedding plans. Summer to fall 2022. Isaiah was good to Jasmine. I saw that. He brought her flowers. Remembered the little things. How she took her coffee. Her favorite restaurant. The way she liked to decompress after a hard day. He was good to me, too. Mother's Day flowers. Thoughtful questions about William, about the early days of the company. He seemed genuinely interested in our history, our legacy. You and Mr. Morrison built something extraordinary, he said one evening over dinner. I want to honor that. Protect it. Protect it. That word would come back to haunt me. The engagement happened in December at the church Christmas party. Isaiah got down on one knee right there in the fellowship hall, in front of the whole congregation. Jasmine cried. I cried. Sister Johnson brought out her peach cobbler to celebrate. They set the wedding date, June 15th, 2024. A year and a half to plan. Jasmine wanted to get married under William's oak tree, the one he'd planted 29 years ago. The one that had grown strong and tall, just like he said it would. Strong roots, she said, touching the bark. Just like you and Daddy taught me. I should have been happy. I was happy. But there was this small voice in the back of my mind, getting quieter every day, whispering, something isn't right. I ignored it. Year 2, the subtle erosion begins, 2023, January 2023, the memory incident board meeting. First week of January, I was presenting Q4 results, best year in company history, $30 million in revenue, 22% growth. I was explaining our client retention strategy when Jasmine interrupted. Mom, you already said that 2 minutes ago. I stopped. What? The part about the retention metrics. You just explained it. I looked down at my notes. Had I? I couldn't remember. The page was a blur of bullet points and numbers. Had I already covered this section? I did? Jasmine's expression, concerned. Are you feeling okay? The room went quiet. 12 pairs of eyes on me, waiting. I'm fine. Just let me check my notes. I fumbled through the pages. You're right, sorry. Let me move on to the next section. I finished the presentation. The board approved the report, but afterward, in the hallway, Leonard pulled me aside. Catherine, are you sure you're all right? I'm fine, Leonard. Just tired. It's been a long quarter. He didn't look convinced. That night I sat at the kitchen table and tried to remember if I'd repeated myself. I replayed the meeting in my mind over and over, but I couldn't be sure. Maybe Jasmine was right. Maybe I had repeated myself. Maybe I was just tired. March 2023. His name was Richard Davidson. I'd worked with him for 5 years. 5 years of quarterly meetings, strategy sessions, Christmas cards. I knew his wife's name. I knew his kids went to Dartmouth and Yale. I knew he played golf on Thursdays. But that Wednesday in March, sitting across from him in a coffee shop, I called him Mr. Johnson. 3 times. He was polite about it. It's Davidson, actually. Oh, I'm so sorry, of course, Davidson. 5 minutes later. So, Mr. Johnson, what I'm proposing... Davidson. My face burned. I don't know why I keep doing that. After the meeting, Jasmine was waiting in the car. She'd offered to drive, said she was heading the same direction anyway. How'd it go? She asked. Fine, good, he's on board with the new strategy. She pulled out of the parking lot. Mom, I heard you call him Mr. Johnson. My stomach dropped. You were listening? I was sitting by the window. I could hear everything. She glanced at me. Are you sure you're okay? That's not like you. I'm fine, Jasmine. I just mixed up names. It happens. It's been happening a lot lately. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. I'm just worried. She reached over, squeezed my hand. Maybe you should see Dr. Patterson, just to check in, make sure everything's okay. Dr. Terrence Patterson, our family neurologist. He'd treated William for migraines, me for stress headaches, Jasmine for a concussion she got playing basketball in high school. I don't need a doctor, baby. I just need a good night's sleep. Promise me you'll think about it? I'll think about it. But the seed was planted. The doubt. The question, what if something is wrong? April 2023. I arrived 15 minutes late to a client meeting. 15 minutes. Me. The woman who'd been early to every meeting for 35 years. My assistant had written it in my calendar. 9 a.m. But when I showed up at 9, they'd already started. The meeting had been at 8:45. I'm so sorry, I said, rushing in. My calendar said 9. Jasmine covered for me. Mom's been handling back-to-back meetings all week. Let's catch her up on what she missed. Afterward, Isaiah pulled me aside. Catherine, this isn't like you. His voice was gentle, kind. Have you thought about what Jasmine suggested? Seeing Dr. Patterson? It was just a calendar mix-up. Was it? He paused. The repeating yourself at the board meeting. Forgetting Mr. Davidson's name. Now this. Catherine, I care about you. We all do. And we're worried. I looked at him. This man who was going to marry my daughter. This man who seemed so genuinely concerned. I'll make an appointment, I heard myself say. Good. That's good. He smiled. We just want to make sure you're okay. You've been under so much stress since William died. It's understandable if it's catching up to you. Catching up to me. Like I was a car breaking down. Like I was machinery wearing out. I made the appointment with Dr. Patterson the next day, June 2023. Jasmine and Isaiah asked me to dinner on a Friday night. Not our usual Friday ritual. This was different. More formal. They picked the restaurant. A quiet place, private booth in the back. Mama, we need to talk, Jasmine said after we ordered. My chest tightened. About what? She exchanged a look with Isaiah. He nodded, encouraging. We're worried about you. Isaiah and I, Leonard, some of the board members, we've all noticed changes. Changes? The memory issues, the confusion. Mama, you're working too hard. You've been working too hard for 15 years, ever since Daddy died. Isaiah leaned forward. Catherine, you've done an incredible job. You saved this company. You grew it beyond anything anyone thought possible. But maybe, he paused. Maybe it's time to think about stepping back, letting the next generation take the lead. Stepping back, the next generation, meaning Jasmine, meaning Isaiah. I'm 61 years old, I said slowly. Not 90. We know, Mama, but you've earned the right to rest, to enjoy your life. You don't have to carry this burden anymore. Burden, William's legacy, our life's work, a burden. I don't want to step back, I said. I'm not ready. Jasmine's eyes filled with tears. But what if you keep working until you can't anymore, until something happens? What if you make a decision that hurts the company because you're not? Because I'm what? She couldn't say it, but Isaiah could. Because you're experiencing cognitive decline, he said gently. Catherine, it's nothing to be ashamed of. It happens. Stress, age, grief, they all take a toll, but ignoring it won't make it go away. I sat there, looking at my daughter and her fiancé, and I felt something inside me crack. Not break, just crack, like the first hairline fracture in a foundation, small enough to ignore, deep enough to matter. I'll think about it, I said. But what I meant was, I'll start questioning everything I know about myself. September 2023. Dr. Patterson's assessment. Dr. Patterson ran tests. Lots of tests. Memory, cognitive function, motor skills, verbal processing. He asked me to remember 3 words and repeat them 5 minutes later. Apple, table, penny. He asked me to draw a clock showing 3:15. He asked me about my daily routine, my stress levels, how I'd been sleeping. 2 days later, I sat in his office while he reviewed the results. Catherine, I'm seeing some early signs of cognitive fatigue. Nothing alarming yet, but worth monitoring. Cognitive fatigue. What does that mean? It means your brain is tired. You've been under enormous stress for 15 years. Grief, work pressure, the responsibility of running a company, it all adds up. The memory lapses, the confusion, the difficulty with names and dates. These are all consistent with stress-induced cognitive fatigue. So I'm not declining? He hesitated, just a fraction of a second, but I caught it. Not in the way you're thinking. But Catherine, if you don't reduce your stress levels, if you don't start delegating more, these symptoms could progress. Progress. There was that word again. What should I do? Step back from day-to-day operations. Let Jasmine and Isaiah handle more of the workload. Focus on strategic oversight rather than tactical execution. Give yourself permission to rest. I sat there looking at this man I'd trusted for 5 years, and I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe that rest would fix everything, that I just needed to slow down, breathe, let go a little. But something in his eyes, I couldn't name it then. But looking back, I know what it was. Pity. He was looking at me with pity, like I was already gone. November 2023, Thanksgiving. The breaking point came on Thanksgiving. We hosted at the Morrison estate, like we'd done every year since William planted that oak tree. Church members, Leonard and his wife, Evelyn our housekeeper, Jasmine and Isaiah. 16 people around the dining room table. I was carving the turkey, William's tradition, the one I'd taken over after he died. I was telling a story about our first Thanksgiving in 1985, when William tried to deep fry a turkey and nearly burned down our apartment kitchen. Everyone was laughing. I was in the middle of describing the fire department showing up when Jasmine interrupted. Mom, you told this story last week. At dinner. I stopped, knife in midair. I did? Yeah, last Wednesday. When Leonard came over for the contract review. I looked at Leonard. He nodded, uncomfortable. I didn't remember last Wednesday's dinner. I didn't remember telling this story. I didn't remember Leonard being there. How could I forget an entire dinner? I'm sorry, I said. I didn't realize. Isaiah reached over, touched my hand. It's okay, Mom Catherine. It's a great story. Worth telling twice. Mom Catherine. He'd never called me that before. Always Catherine or Mrs. Morrison. The familiarity felt wrong, presumptuous. But everyone else was nodding, smiling, moving on. I set down the carving knife. I need a moment. I walked to the bathroom, closed the door, stood in front of the mirror, looked at my face. 61 years old. Gray hair I'd stopped dyeing 2 years ago. Lines around my eyes from 35 years of hard work. Capable hands that had built a company from nothing. But the woman looking back at me, I didn't recognize her. She looked tired, confused, lost. She looked like someone who was forgetting her own life. I whispered to my reflection, "What's happening to me?" No answer, just my own face, staring back, equally confused. When I returned to the table, conversation had moved on. No one mentioned the repeated story, but I felt their eyes on me, concerned, watchful, waiting for the next mistake. That night, after everyone left, I sat in William's study and tried to remember last Wednesday. I pulled up my calendar. There it was. Dinner with Leonard, contract review. I checked my email. 3 messages from Leonard that day discussing the contracts we'd apparently reviewed. I had no memory of any of it. None. I picked up William's red notebook, opened it to the last entry. December 15th, 2023. 3 weeks ago, I wrote, "Jasmine is worried about me. Maybe she's right." Then I closed the notebook and didn't open it again for 6 months. Year 3. The Invisible Cage, January 2024. January brought snow and silence. I noticed it first in the emails. Small things. CC lines that used to include my name now didn't. Meeting invitations sent to Jasmine and Isaiah, but not to me. Client communications I only learned about after decisions had already been made. When I asked about it, Jasmine's explanation was always the same. "We didn't want to overwhelm you, Mama. Dr. Patterson said you need to reduce stress." So they were reducing me instead. February. A client meeting I wasn't told about until it was over. TechCorp Solutions, our oldest client, the one that had taken a chance on us back in 1995, had renewed their contract. I learned about it in the board meeting. "Wait," I said. "When did this negotiation happen?" Jasmine smiled. "Last week. Isaiah and I handled it. We didn't want to trouble you. TechCorp has been my client for 29 years. And now they're our client," Isaiah said gently. "Catherine, this is what you wanted, isn't it? The next generation stepping up?" The board nodded approvingly. Leonard looked down at his papers. I felt like I was watching my own life from behind glass. Everything looked familiar, but I couldn't touch it anymore. Couldn't reach through. I started noticing the physical distance in March. My office was at the end of the hall, the corner office with the window overlooking William's oak tree. It used to be the center of everything. Now it felt like an island. Jasmine and Isaiah's offices were next to each other, 2 doors down. Every morning at 8:30, I'd hear them. The sound of Isaiah's door opening, footsteps, Jasmine's door closing, then laughter. Their ritual. Coffee together before the day started. The ritual that used to be mine and Jasmine's. I'd walk past their offices sometimes, on my way to the bathroom or the conference room. I'd hear them talking, their voices low and conspiratorial. The moment I appeared, the conversation would stop. "Oh, hi, Mama. We were just discussing the Henderson account." But their faces said otherwise. Their faces said, "We were talking about you." One Thursday morning, I knocked on Jasmine's door. "Want to grab coffee?" She looked surprised. "Oh, I just had coffee with Isaiah, but I can make you a cup?" "I meant going out, together, like we used to." "Mama, I have back-to-back meetings all morning. Maybe Friday?" But Friday came and went. No coffee, no dinner, no ritual. I ate alone in my office, looking at the yellow tablecloth I'd brought from home, trying to remember when Friday nights became just another workday. I was reviewing our quarterly financials, one of the few things they still let me do, when I saw it. Line 47, Cascade Holdings LLC, consulting fee, $50,000. I'd been doing this for 37 years. I knew every vendor, every consultant, every line item in our budget. Cascade Holdings wasn't familiar. I asked Leonard first. He was in charge of vendor management. "Cascade Holdings?" He frowned, scrolling through his records. "I don't have any contracts with that name." "It's right here. $50,000, paid March 1st. "Let me look into it." But I didn't wait. I went straight to Jasmine. She was in her office, door open. Isaiah was there too, both of them looking at something on her computer. They minimized the screen when I walked in. "Quick question," I said. "What's Cascade Holdings?" Jasmine's face, casual, unconcerned. "Oh, that's the estate planning entity Isaiah set up for tax purposes." "Estate planning? What estate planning?" She blinked. "The 30% transfer we discussed last month, remember? You said it sounded like a good idea." No, I didn't remember. I didn't remember any conversation about transferring 30% of anything to anyone, but I nodded, because admitting I didn't remember felt like admitting I was losing my mind. "Right, the 30%. I just wanted to confirm the amount." $50,000 is just the initial setup cost, Isaiah explained. Legal fees, incorporation documents, that kind of thing. The actual transfer happens later. Later. When? Okay, thanks for clarifying. I walked back to my office, closed the door, and immediately opened my email. Searched. Cascade Holdings. 1 result. March 5th, 2024. Subject. Estate planning. Symbolic ownership transfer. I clicked it open. From Isaiah Bennett to Catherine Morrison. CC Jasmine Morrison. Catherine. As discussed, I have started the paperwork for the symbolic 30% ownership transfer to Jasmine. This is purely for estate planning purposes, tax benefits, future succession planning, etc. Cascade Holdings, LLC will serve as the holding entity to simplify the transfer process. Let me know if you have any questions. Happy to walk through the details whenever you're ready. Best, Isaiah. My response, dated March 5th, 2:17 p.m. Sounds good. Let's discuss Friday. I had written that. My email, my words, but I had absolutely no memory of it. I sat there, staring at the screen, and felt the world tilt. Was I really forgetting entire conversations, entire decisions, or was something else happening? I printed the email, folded it, put it in my purse. That night, I searched my home office for anything else related to Cascade Holdings. Nothing. Just that one email. Symbolic 30% transfer. For estate planning. It sounded reasonable, professional, the kind of thing a responsible CEO would do. So why did it feel like a trap? April 2024. I realized in April that I'd stopped going to church. Sister Washington called me. Catherine, baby, we miss you. Haven't seen you in services for almost 2 months. 2 months? Had it really been that long? I've been busy with the wedding planning, I said. Well, don't be a stranger. You know we're here for you. After I hung up, I checked my calendar. The last Sunday I'd attended Bethel AME was February 18th, 6 weeks ago. When had I stopped going? Who had I become that I could abandon my church community without even noticing? I tried to remember the last time I'd led the women's ministry meeting. Christmas? Before that? Tried to remember the last time I'd had coffee with Sister Johnson, or helped organize a potluck, or done anything that connected me to the life I'd built before. Before what? Before Isaiah. Before the engagement. Before I started doubting every thought in my own head. One Sunday morning in late April, I woke up early. The house was quiet. Jasmine and Isaiah were at their own apartment now. They'd moved in together fully after the engagement, planning to move into the estate after the wedding. I went downstairs to the kitchen, opened the cabinet where I kept William's Blue Mountain coffee beans. The bag was there, unopened. I'd bought it 6 months ago and never touched it. I ground the beans. The smell filled the kitchen. Rich, familiar William. I made the coffee exactly the way he used to. Sat down at the kitchen table with the yellow tablecloth. Put on kind of blue. Waited for the morning light to come through the window. Everything was the same, but when I took the first sip, it tasted wrong. Not the coffee. The coffee was perfect. But my mouth, my tongue, my sense of taste, something was off. Like I was drinking it through a filter. Like there was a barrier between me and the simple pleasure of morning coffee. I tried again. Still wrong. I poured the rest down the sink and stood there, watching it spiral away, and thought, I've lost even this. May 2024. Dr. Patterson's escalation second assessment. More comprehensive this time. Dr. Patterson had me come in for a full day of testing. Cognitive function, memory, motor skills, problem solving. Hours of questions and tasks and puzzles. 2 days later, I sat in his office while he delivered the results. Catherine, I'm concerned. He set down his pen, folded his hands. I'm seeing progression. That word, progression. What kind of progression? He turned his monitor toward me, showed me graphs, charts, numbers that were supposed to represent my brain. Your cognitive function scores have declined since September. Not dramatically, but consistently. The memory issues are more frequent. The confusion is more pronounced. He paused. Have you noticed it yourself? Yes, sometimes. Have you been following my recommendations, reducing stress, delegating more? I've tried. He looked at me with that expression again. Pity. Catherine, I think it's time we had a serious conversation about the future. about what happens if these symptoms continue to progress. What do you mean? I mean you should consider updating your power of attorney, making sure there are clear provisions in place for someone to make decisions on your behalf if you're unable to do so. Unable to do so. He was talking about me like I was already incompetent. You should also think about succession planning for the company. You've built something extraordinary, but you need to ensure it's protected, even if you can't be at the helm anymore. Even if. When. He was preparing me for the inevitable, for the day I'd be declared unfit. Who should I designate? My voice sounded small. That's up to you. But typically, family members are the logical choice. Jasmine, perhaps. She knows the business. She loves you. She'd make decisions with your best interests at heart. I nodded slowly. Jasmine, who'd already started making decisions without me, who'd already signed documents for Cascade Holdings, who'd already taken over my Friday night ritual with her fiancé. Jasmine would make decisions with my best interests at heart, right? I'll think about it, I said. Dr. Patterson smiled, kind, gentle. I know this is difficult, but planning now will give you peace of mind later. Peace of mind. I drove home in a daze, his words circling in my head. Progression, unable to make decisions, succession planning. I was 62 years old, and everyone, my daughter, my doctor, my future son-in-law, was already planning for my incompetence. The board meeting that changed everything. I'd prepared for 2 weeks, Q2 strategy presentation, detailed analysis of market opportunities, competitive positioning, resource allocation. I knew this material inside and out. I stood at the front of the conference room, clicked through my slides, explained our path forward. Halfway through, Isaiah interrupted. Actually, Catherine, I think we should reconsider this approach. I stopped. What? The strategy you're proposing, it's solid, but I think there's a better way. He stood up, walked to the front. May I? What was I supposed to say? No? I stepped aside. Isaiah took over my presentation, used my slides, explained my strategy, but phrased it differently, used different language, made it sound like his idea. If we consolidate our client acquisition focus on the tech sector rather than diversifying, we'll see significantly higher ROI. The data Catherine gathered supports this approach, but I think we need to be more aggressive in our execution. The board loved it. Excellent thinking, Isaiah. This is exactly the kind of forward momentum we need. Catherine, your research here is solid. Isaiah's execution plan takes it to the next level. I stood against the wall, watching a man present my work as his own, and the board praised him for it. After the meeting, Leonard pulled me aside. That was your strategy. He just repackaged it. Does it matter? I was so tired. The outcome is the same. It matters because they're crediting him. Catherine, don't you see what's happening? What's happening, Leonard? He looked at me for a long moment. They're erasing you. June 10th, 2024, I had an appointment at Whitmore's boutique to pick up my mother of the bride dress. Champagne gold. Perfect fit. The wedding was in 5 days. Rebecca Whitmore, the owner, had been in business for 40 years. She'd fitted my wedding dress in 1983. She'd done Jasmine's gown 3 months ago. When I arrived, she looked nervous. Catherine, can we talk? She glanced toward the windows. Privately? Is something wrong with the dress? No, the dress is perfect, but I need to tell you something. She locked the front door, flipped the sign to closed, led me past the fitting rooms to a door I'd never noticed before, a VIP room. She pulled me inside and locked the door behind us. Rebecca, what? Shh. She turned off the light. We stood in darkness, just a sliver of light beneath the door. Listen, she whispered. I held my breath. Voices, muffled but close, coming from the other side of the wall. The storage room. They were in the storage room. Isaiah's voice. The power of attorney amendment is on page 7. She'll sign it Saturday night after the first dance. She won't even read it. My heart stopped. Jasmine's voice, hesitant, uncertain. Are you sure this is the only way? Isaiah. She trusts you. That's what makes it perfect. Perfect. The word echoed in the dark. A third voice, clinical, measured. Dr. Patterson. I've documented 5 incidents of cognitive decline over the past 3 months. Once the power of attorney activates, we can initiate the transfer within 72 hours. Transfer? What transfer? Jasmine. And the trust? Isaiah. The Thomas Morrison Memorial Trust. $15 million. The moment she's declared incompetent, you become sole trustee. Combined with the company transfer to Cascade Holdings, $47 million total. $47 million, not 30%. Everything. Dr. Patterson. Assisted living placement within 3 to 6 months. Evergreen Manor is very discreet. Assisted living. They were going to put me away. My daughter, my doctor, the man Jasmine was going to marry in 5 days. They were going to take everything. Rebecca's hand found mine in the dark. She squeezed hard. I bit down on the inside of my cheek until I tasted blood. Focused on the pain. Anything to keep from screaming. The voices continued. Something about timing. Signatures. Bank accounts. Words that sounded like my death sentence, delivered in calm, professional tones. Then, chairs scraping. Footsteps. A door closing. Silence. Rebecca turned on the light. Her eyes were wet. I'm so sorry, she whispered. They were here last Thursday, too. Same conversation. I didn't know if I should tell you, but I couldn't. I couldn't let you walk into this blind. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe, couldn't process what I just heard. My daughter, my Jasmine. The baby I'd held 35 years ago. The girl who'd stood beside me at William's grave and promised we'd survive together. The woman I'd mentored, promoted, loved with everything in me. She was going to betray me. No. Wait. Was she being manipulated, or was she the architect? She trusts you. That's what makes it perfect. Isaiah had said that. But Jasmine had asked about the trust. About the money. She knew. She knew it was $47 million, not 30%. She knew about Evergreen Manor. She knew about Dr. Patterson's fraudulent assessment. And she'd asked about the money. The longest internal monologue. I'm not breathing. I should be breathing, but I'm not. My daughter. The baby who cried on her first day of school, and I cried in the car. The teenager who announced she'd be president someday. The young woman who came home from Columbia and said, I want to help, Mama. I want to fight for Dad's legacy. She's going to take everything. Everything William and I built. Everything I've sacrificed 15 years to protect. $47 million. My company, my freedom, my life. And she's going to lock me away in Evergreen Manor. 3 to 6 months, Dr. Patterson said, as if I'm already gone, as if I'm already a problem to be managed, a burden to be removed. But the question that's breaking me right now is, does she think she's helping me? Does she really believe I'm losing my mind? That I'm declining? That this is mercy? Or does she want me gone? She trusts you. That's what makes it perfect. Isaiah knows I trust Jasmine. He's using that trust. But is he using her? Is my daughter a victim or a villain? I don't know. I don't know anything anymore. Except this. I am not losing my mind. The memory lapses, the confusion, the repeating myself. What if it wasn't real? What if they made me doubt myself? What if the calendar mistake wasn't a mistake? What if Dr. Patterson's assessments are lies? What if I've been gaslit for 18 months? Made to question my own reality. Made to feel incompetent. Made to think I need protection. So I'd sign the papers. So I'd go quietly. So I'd disappear. But I won't. I won't. Rebecca turned on the light. I was shaking. What are you going to do? She asked. I don't know yet. Catherine, where's my dress? She blinked. What? The champagne gold dress. I came to pick it up. She disappeared into the back, returned with a garment bag. I took it, looped it over my arm. Thank you, I said. My voice was steady, calm, like I just heard the weather report instead of my own execution order. Catherine, you can't just... Thank you for telling me, for letting me hear. I won't forget this. I walked out into the June sunlight. The street was busy. Tourists, couples, a woman walking a golden retriever. Everyone looked normal, happy. I crossed to my car, opened the back door, laid the garment bag carefully across the seat. Then I climbed into the driver's seat, closed the door. The dress hung in the back like a ghost. The dress I was supposed to wear when I gave my daughter away, when I smiled and toasted to love and trust and new beginnings. The dress I'd wear when they handed me papers to sign, papers that would make me disappear. I drove home slowly. The Morrison estate appeared at the end of the tree-lined drive, pale yellow Victorian, wrap-around porch. And there, in the backyard, visible from the driveway, William's oak tree. The tree he'd planted 29 years ago, the day we bought this house, the day the company first turned a profit. Strong roots, he'd said. Strong roots mean strong growth. The tree was still standing, tall, solid, alive. But I felt like my roots had been cut. No, not cut. Slowly poisoned. 18 months of doubt, of questioning myself, of believing I was broken. 18 months of them taking pieces of me, so gradually I didn't notice until there was almost nothing left. I sat in the car, looking at that tree, and I made a decision. Not revenge, understanding. Before I could fight, I needed to know, was Jasmine a victim or a villain? Was she being manipulated by Isaiah, or was she the one orchestrating this? Did she really believe I was losing my mind? Or did she just want control? I needed answers, and I had 5 days to find them. I walked into the house. Evelyn Brooks, our housekeeper, was in the kitchen preparing dinner. Miss Catherine, you're home. Did you get the dress? I held up the garment bag, smiled. Perfect fit. Beautiful, just beautiful. Jasmine's going to cry when she sees you in it. Jasmine, who was planning to declare me incompetent? Who was planning to take $47 million? Who was planning to put me in assisted living? Yes, I said, I'm sure she will. I went upstairs to William's study, closed the door, sat down at his desk, pulled out the red leather notebook, the one I hadn't touched since November. The last entry stared up at me. Jasmine is worried about me. Maybe she's right. I picked up the pen, wrote, June 10th, 2024. I heard them. I know. Then I sat there in the silence and let the truth wash over me. $47 million. Cascade Holdings. Dr. Patterson's fabricated assessments. Isaiah's gambling debt. I didn't know about that yet, but I would. The power of attorney with page 7. The assisted living facility. All of it planned. All of it calculated. All of it happening in 5 days. Unless I stopped it. Late that night, I stood in my bathroom, looked at myself in the mirror. 62 years old, gray hair, tired eyes, lines on my face from 37 years of building something from nothing. I whispered, Am I losing my mind? My reflection stared back. Silent. I asked again, louder, Am I losing my mind? No, I wasn't. The memory lapses? Manufactured. The confusion? Gaslighting. The assessments? Fraudulent. I wasn't broken. I was being broken. There's a difference. I touched the mirror, my fingertips against my reflection's fingertips. They want you to disappear, I said. They want you to doubt yourself so much that you'll sign away everything without a fight. They want you to go quietly. But you won't. My reflection agreed. I turned off the bathroom light and walked back to William's study, sat down at his desk, opened my laptop, searched. Financial fraud investigator, Connecticut. Searched. Elder abuse lawyer, Connecticut. Searched. Power of attorney fraud. The results made me sick. It happened to people all the time. People who thought they were safe. People with families they trusted. People like me. But I wasn't going down without a fight. I looked at William's photograph on the desk, the one from 1995. "I'm going to need your help," I whispered. "I'm going to need strength I don't have." The photograph didn't answer, but the oak tree outside the window swayed in the June breeze. Strong roots, strong growth. I had 5 days to save everything. 5 days to find out if my daughter was worth saving. 5 days to reclaim myself. The war started tomorrow. Friday, June 11th. I woke up at dawn on Friday. The wedding was in 4 days. I didn't go to the office. For the first time in 15 years since William died, I called in sick. Jasmine texted at 8:15. "Mom, are you okay?" I stared at my phone. My daughter, who was planning to declare me incompetent tomorrow, who thought I was too confused to notice. I typed back, "Just tired. Need to rest before the wedding." 3 dots appeared. Then, "Good. You need your strength. Love you. Love you." What a strange phrase for someone planning to take everything. I sat at the kitchen table, that yellow tablecloth still there after all these years, and made a list, not of what I needed to do, of what I needed to know. Questions. 1. Is Jasmine being manipulated or is she complicit? 2. What is Isaiah really after? 3. Are Dr. Patterson's assessments fabricated? 4. What exactly does page 7 say? 5. Can I stop this without destroying my daughter? That last question was the one that kept me awake all night. Diane Porter had been my corporate attorney for 8 years. Smart, methodical, discreet. If anyone could help me understand my legal position, it was her. I called her office at 9. "Catherine, what's wrong?" She could hear it in my voice. "I need to ask you something. Hypothetically." I don't like hypotheticals. If someone wanted to challenge my competency, what would they need? Silence on the other end. Then, "Catherine, what's going on? Just answer the question, please." They'd need a licensed physician's assessment documenting cognitive impairment, multiple incidents over time, and a legal petition for guardianship or conservatorship. How long would I have to respond? 72 hours after filing. But Catherine, what if I'd already signed a power of attorney? Then you'd have almost no recourse. The person you designated would have immediate authority to make financial and medical decisions on your behalf. You could challenge it in court, but it's an uphill battle. She paused. "Why are you asking me this?" "I need you to review a document. Can I send it to you?" "Of course. But Catherine, please tell me what's happening." I took a breath. "My daughter is getting married on Saturday, and I think her fiancé is planning to use a power of attorney to take control of my company and my assets, with help from my doctor." "Jesus Christ. Send me everything. Now." Leonard answered on the first ring. "Catherine, I've been trying to reach you all morning. I need you to do something for me, Leonard, and I need you to keep it quiet. Anything. Review all financial transactions from the past 6 months. Anything unusual, especially anything related to Cascade Holdings or Isaiah Bennett." "I've already started." "Catherine, I found something." My heart stopped. "What?" "Cascade Holdings received $500,000 from Stratton Advisory in April. Payment memo. Morrison client list plus Q1 financials." The room tilted. Stratton Advisory, our biggest competitor. Isaiah sold our proprietary information. "There's more," Leonard continued. "I found wire transfers from Isaiah's personal account. $300,000 to an offshore account in the Cayman Islands, March 15th. "What's it for?" "I don't know. But Catherine, this isn't estate planning. This is theft." I closed my eyes. "Can you trace the offshore account?" "I'll try, but we might need someone with more specialized skills." "I'll handle it. Leonard, don't tell anyone about this, especially not Jasmine." "You think she knows?" That was the question, wasn't it? "I don't know," I said. "But I'm going to find out." Diane called me back at 2 p.m. "I hired someone, Robert James, former FBI, specializes in financial fraud and elder abuse cases. He's good and he's fast. Can you meet him tonight?" "Where?" "The diner on Route 1, 7 o'clock. He'll find you. The diner was nearly empty when I arrived. A man sat in the corner booth, early 60s, silver hair, eyes that had seen everything and believed nothing. He stood when I approached. Mrs. Morrison, Robert James. His handshake was firm, respectful. We sat. He pulled out a notebook. Not a phone, not a recorder. Just paper and pen. Tell me everything, he said. So I did. The boutique, the overheard conversation, Cascade Holdings, Dr. Patterson's assessments, the power of attorney, $47 million. He didn't interrupt, just wrote in clean, efficient lines. When I finished, he looked up. Can I have 16 hours? For what? To find out who Isaiah Bennett really is. I didn't sleep that night either. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about Jasmine as a baby. The way she'd grab my finger with her tiny hand. The way she'd cry when I left the room, even just to get a glass of water. The way she'd looked at me at William's funeral. Lost. Scared. Needing me to be strong enough for both of us. When had that changed? When did she start seeing me as weak instead of strong? As a burden instead of a partner? Or had Isaiah made her see me that way? At 3 a.m., I got up and went to the kitchen, made William's coffee. The smell filled the house. I sat at the table and wrapped my hands around the cup, letting the warmth seep into my palms. Took a sip. It tasted right. For the first time in months, it tasted exactly right. And I knew in that moment that my mind was fine. My memory was fine. I wasn't broken. I'd been systematically dismantled. But I could be rebuilt. Robert James called at 6 a.m. I found 3 things, he said, each one worse than the last. We met at my house at 8. Leonard and Diane were already there. Evelyn brought coffee, then quietly closed the door. Robert spread 3 folders on William's desk. Folder 1, Isaiah Bennett photographs. Isaiah shaking hands with a bald man in an expensive suit. Manhattan street corner. Different locations, different dates. This is Dmitry Vulov, Robert said. Enforcer for Viktor Krasov. Russian organized crime, operates out of New York and New Jersey. What does Isaiah owe him? $2.5 million. Gambling debt. Illegal poker games, sports betting. He's been in deep since 2020. The deadline to pay is June 30th, 2 weeks from now. I stared at the photographs. My future son-in-law. The man Jasmine was going to marry in 3 days. If he doesn't pay by the 30th, Robert said quietly, Krasov's people will kill him. So that's what this was about. Survival. Isaiah wasn't just stealing from me. He was running for his life. Folder 2, the corporate sabotage bank statements, emails, transaction records. Isaiah didn't just sell your client list, Robert said. He's been systematically sabotaging Morrison and Associates for 18 months. He laid out the evidence. TechCorp Solutions. Isaiah leaked confidential strategy to their competitor. You lost a $2 million annual contract. Midwest Manufacturing. Isaiah deliberately missed deadlines. $1.5 million in lost revenue. Harbor Investments. Isaiah gave them bad advice that cost them $5 million. They sued you. You settled for $1.2 million. Total damage, $7.7 million in lost revenue and reputation. Leonard's face was dark. I knew something was wrong. I just couldn't prove it. He wasn't just stealing from you, Robert said. He was destroying the company from the inside, making it easier to sell, making you look incompetent. Folder 3, Dr. Terrence Patterson. This was the one that broke me. 3 case files. 3 names, 3 stories that all ended the same way. Dr. Patterson has done this before, Robert said. 3 times. Margaret Hastings, 2018, 78 years old, $10 million estate. Dr. Patterson fabricated a dementia diagnosis. Her nephew got power of attorney, transferred everything. She was placed in assisted living, died a year later. Dr. Patterson received $40,000. Howard Bennett, 2020, 82 years old, $8 million estate. Dr. Patterson fabricated cognitive decline. Daughter took control. Sold his business for $3 million, worth $8. Bennett died in 2021. Dr. Patterson got $50,000. Patricia Donovan, 2022, 74 years old. $15 million estate. Dr. Patterson tried the same thing, but Patricia's granddaughter was a lawyer. She fought back, exposed the fraud. Case was settled, records sealed. Dr. Patterson still walked away with $75,000. 2 medical board complaints, Robert said, both dismissed, lack of evidence. I looked at the files. 2 people dead, 1 survivor. Patricia Donovan, he said. She's alive? Yes, and she's willing to testify. I closed the folder. My hands were shaking. Dr. Patterson, the man I'd trusted for 5 years, the man who'd treated William before he died, the man who'd guided me through grief. He'd done this to 3 people before me, stolen their freedom, stolen their dignity. 2 of them were gone. I was supposed to be number 4. We sat in William's study, me, Diane, Robert, Leonard, and I asked the question that had been haunting me since the boutique. What about Jasmine? Robert pulled out another document. She signed the Cascade Holdings Incorporation papers on March 10th, 3 months ago. Does that mean she knew? It means she participated. Whether she knew the full scope, he paused. That's harder to prove. Diane leaned forward. Catherine, here's what we can do. Emergency injunction to freeze all transfers. Independent cognitive evaluation to disprove Patterson's assessment. We can stop this. But? If we expose them at the wedding, you'll destroy Jasmine's life, her reputation, her relationship with you. There's no coming back from that. I thought about the outline I'd been forming. The plan to let Jasmine walk down the aisle, say her vows, and then expose everything in front of 180 guests. Dramatic, satisfying, complete destruction. But it wasn't what I wanted. What I wanted was the truth. I'm not exposing them at the wedding, I said. Everyone stared at me. What? Leonard stood up. Catherine, they're planning to steal everything. I know, but before I destroy my daughter's life, I need to know if she's a victim or a villain. I need to hear it from her, Diane. When? Before the ceremony. I'm going to talk to her. Alone. And then I'll decide. Robert studied me for a long moment, then nodded. Your call, but we need to be ready either way. I'll have the injunction prepared. Police on standby. If you give the word, we move. Thank you. They left one by one. Leonard squeezed my shoulder. Diane promised to have everything ready by Saturday morning. Robert was the last to leave. He paused at the door. Mrs. Morrison, I knew your husband. I looked up. What? 2005. I was investigating a Ponzi scheme targeting small consulting firms. My supervisor wanted to drop it. Not high profile enough. William came forward. Testified. Gave us everything we needed. He saved the case. He paused. He saved my career. I never got the chance to pay him back. My throat tightened. You can now, I said. He nodded once. That's the plan. Saturday morning, the wedding day, I woke at dawn. The house was already full of activity. Florists, caterers, Evelyn directing traffic. The ceremony was at 5 p.m. under William's oak tree. 180 guests. I showered, did my makeup, put on the champagne gold dress, looked at myself in the mirror. I looked like a mother of the bride. Elegant, composed, happy. I didn't feel any of those things. At noon, Jasmine arrived to get ready. She was in the guest room with her bridesmaids, laughing, drinking champagne. I stood outside her door and listened to her joy. My daughter, about to marry a man who was using her, about to destroy everything we'd built together. Did she know? In 2 hours, I'd find out. At 3 p.m., I knocked on Jasmine's door. She opened it, still in her robe, hair half done. Mama, you look beautiful. Can we talk? Alone? She glanced at her bridesmaids. Can you give us a minute? They filed out. The The door closed. Jasmine sat on the bed, smiled. "What's up?" I sat beside her, took her hand. "I know about Cascade Holdings." Her smile froze. "I know about the power of attorney." Page 7. "Mama, I know Isaiah sold our client list to Stratton Advisory." Her face went pale. "I know Dr. Patterson has done this before, 3 times. 2 of those people are dead." "What?" She pulled her hand away. "What are you talking about?" "Margaret Hastings, Howard Bennett, Patricia Donovan. Dr. Patterson fabricated their cognitive assessments, just like he's fabricating mine. Stole their money, put them in assisted living. 2 of them died." Jasmine stood up, shaking. "That's not—" "Dr. Patterson wouldn't. He would. He did. And he's doing it to me." No, you're confused. She stopped herself. "I'm what, Jasmine? Losing my mind? Declining? Too incompetent to know what's happening to me?" Tears filled her eyes. "I didn't say that." "But you believe it." I stood up, faced her. "You've believed it for 18 months. Every time I forgot a name or repeated myself or arrived late to a meeting, you believed I was broken." "Because you were." "The test results, the incidents, Dr. Patterson said—" "Dr. Patterson lied." "Why would he lie?" "For $75,000. That's what Isaiah paid him. The same amount he got from Patricia Donovan's family." Jasmine backed away. "You're wrong. Isaiah loves me. He wouldn't—" "Isaiah owes $2.5 million to the Russian mob. He has 2 weeks to pay or they'll kill him. That's what this is about, Jasmine. Survival, mine or his." She shook her head, crying now. No, you're confused. You're sick. You need help." "I'm not sick." My voice rose for the first time. "I never was." The memory lapses, the confusion. It was gaslighting. Isaiah changed my calendar. Isaiah made me doubt myself. And you— My voice broke. "You let him." "I was trying to help you." "By stealing my company? By planning to put me in Evergreen Manor? By declaring me incompetent?" "I didn't know about any of that." "Isaiah said it was just 30% for estate planning." "It's everything, Jasmine. $47 million. I heard you. At the boutique. You asked about the trust. You knew it was $15 million. You knew about the timeline. You knew." She collapsed onto the bed, sobbing. "I didn't know it was $47 million. I swear. He told me 30%. He told me we were protecting you." "From what?" "From yourself. From making mistakes. From losing everything Dad built because you couldn't—" She stopped. "Couldn't what?" "Because you couldn't let go." Her voice was small, broken. "You've worked 80-hour weeks for 15 years, Mama. You never stopped. You never rested. You chose the company over everything. Over church. Over me. Over your own life." There it was. The truth beneath the betrayal. "I wanted to prove I could do it without you," she whispered. "I spent my whole life in your shadow. You were the hero who saved the company after Dad died. I was just there. And Isaiah made me feel seen, made me feel capable, made me feel like I could be the one in charge." I sat down beside her. "Then you should have asked me to step down." "Would you have?" I thought about that. "Would I?" "I don't know," I said honestly. "But you should have asked. Instead, you let Isaiah convince you I was broken. You let him make me doubt my own mind. Do you know what that feels like?" She was crying so hard she could barely speak. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Mama." "Did you know about Dr. Patterson's history? About Isaiah's debt? About selling the client list?" "No. I swear I didn't know any of that." "But you knew you were taking control away from me." She nodded, sobbing. "You knew about the power of attorney. You signed the Cascade Holdings documents. Isaiah showed me Dr. Patterson's test results. He showed me the incidents. He said you were declining, and if we didn't act, you'd lose everything. He said this was the only way to protect you, and you believed him instead of talking to me. I was scared you'd say no, so you decided for me. I stood up. That's not protection, Jasmine. That's betrayal. She looked up at me, mascara running down her face. What do you want me to do? I want you to decide, right now. Are you a victim or a participant? I don't understand. Isaiah is a con artist. Dr. Patterson is a fraud. In 6 hours, the police are going to arrest both of them. The evidence is overwhelming. This is happening whether you want it to or not. Oh my God. The question is, what are you going to do? Are you going to marry a man who's using you? Who's going to steal everything and leave you with nothing when the mob catches up to him? Or are you going to choose the truth? I love him. He doesn't love you. He loves your mother's $47 million. She put her face in her hands. I walked to the door, turned back. The ceremony is in 2 hours. You have until then to decide who you want to be. The woman who stood beside me at your father's grave and promised we'd survive together. Or the woman who locked her mother away to prove she could run a company. Mama, please. I love you, Jasmine. I always have. But love isn't enough anymore. I left. The ceremony at 5 p.m. The guests gathered. 180 people. White chairs arranged in rows. The string quartet playing softly. And in the center of it all, William's oak tree. 29 years old. Strong, tall, alive. I sat in the front row. Leonard beside me. Diane on my other side. Robert positioned near the back. Plainclothes officers scattered among the guests. The music changed. Everyone stood. Jasmine appeared at the end of the aisle. White gown, veil trailing. No father to walk her down. He'd been gone for 15 years. She walked alone. Slowly, step by step, toward the oak tree where Isaiah waited. I watched her face. Saw the moment she looked at him. Really looked. Saw the moment doubt crept in. She reached the altar, stood beside Isaiah. The officiant spoke. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today. Isaiah took Jasmine's hands, smiled, confident, like he'd already won. The officiant. If anyone has reason why these two should not be joined in marriage, speak now or forever hold your peace. Silence. I didn't move, didn't speak. This was Jasmine's choice. The officiant opened his mouth to continue. Wait. Jasmine's voice, small, shaking. She pulled her hands away from Isaiah. I can't do this. The guests gasped. Isaiah. What? Jasmine, what are you? I know about the gambling debt. His face went white. I know about Dr. Patterson, about Margaret Hastings and Howard Bennett. Jasmine, listen to me. I know you sold our client list. I know you sabotaged our clients. I know you've been destroying the company for 18 months. She took off her ring, held it out. This wedding is over. The arrests, Robert James stepped forward, 2 officers with him. Isaiah Bennett, you're under arrest for wire fraud, corporate espionage, and conspiracy to commit elder financial abuse. They handcuffed him. Isaiah was shouting, struggling, denying everything. A second pair of officers approached Dr. Patterson, who'd been sitting in the 3rd row. Dr. Terrence Patterson, you're under arrest for fraud, falsifying medical records, and conspiracy to commit elder financial abuse. Dr. Patterson said nothing, just stood, let them cuff him, and walked away with his head down. The guests erupted. Gasps, whispers, chaos. Jasmine stood alone in her white dress, crying. I walked to her. She looked up. Mama? I'm here, baby. She collapsed into my arms. We stood there under William's oak tree, mother and daughter, broken but not destroyed. The oak tree swayed in the June breeze. Strong roots. We'd survive this, too. 6 months later, December morning, the first snow of the season. I woke at dawn, went downstairs to the kitchen, made William's coffee. Blue Mountain blend, ground fresh. The smell filled the house. Put on kind of blue. Sat at the table with the yellow tablecloth. The morning light came through the window, golden, soft, perfect. I took a sip. It tasted right. Isaiah was sentenced to 12 years in federal prison, 7 convictions. The FBI seized his assets, $120,000 total, and applied it to his Krasov debt. He still owed $2.38 million. Dmitry Vulov testified for immunity. Dr. Patterson's medical license was permanently revoked. He was sentenced to 10 years. Civil lawsuits from 3 families: Margaret Hastings's estate, Howard Bennett's daughter, Patricia Donovan. Total, $12 million in damages. He filed for bankruptcy. Jasmine resigned from Morrison and Associates on June 20th. She moved to Boston, started therapy twice a week, got a job at a mid-sized firm, starting over as a senior analyst. She called every Sunday. We talked for an hour. It wasn't the same. It might never be the same. But it was honest. I promoted Leonard to chairman of the board, hired Jennifer Park as the new COO, 42 years old, former VP at Deloitte, no connection to Jasmine or Isaiah. Revenue projection for 2025, $28 million, recovering. Jasmine wasn't cut out completely. She was listed as a conditional beneficiary in my updated will. She'd have access at 45, 10 years from now. Time to prove herself. A letter arrived last week. 5 pages. Jasmine's handwriting. Mom, I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know, I see you now. I see what you sacrificed. I see what you built. I see what I almost destroyed. I spent my whole life wanting to be seen by you. But I never took the time to see you. Not as Catherine Morrison, CEO, but as my mother, as a woman who lost her husband and worked herself to exhaustion to save his legacy, as someone who needed rest and love and presence. Not just productivity. Isaiah exploited that. He saw the crack between us and pried it open. But the crack was already there, and I helped make it. I'm sorry it took losing everything to realize how much you mattered. I'm in therapy, learning to separate my worth from my achievements, learning to see myself outside of your shadow, not by diminishing you, but by finding my own light. I'm not asking to come back to the company. I'm not asking for full forgiveness. I'm just asking for coffee. 1 hour. If you're ready. I love you. I always have. Jasmine, I wrote back. 2 pages. Jasmine, you were never in my shadow. You were my light. I'm sorry I made you feel invisible. I chose work over presence. I chose building an empire over building our relationship. I pushed you away without realizing it. You made terrible choices. So did I. I forgive you. I don't know if we can go back to what we were, but maybe we can move forward to something new. Coffee sounds good. Love, Mama. This morning after my coffee, I walked out to William's oak tree. The branches were bare, winter stripped, but the trunk was solid, the roots invisible but deep. I touched the bark, whispered, I kept my promise. I protected everything. Pause. But I almost lost her. The wind rustled through the bare branches. I stood there for a long time, just being present, not planning, not strategizing, not building anything, just being. Back inside, I sat at William's desk, opened the red leather notebook, the last entry I'd written, June 10th, 2024. I heard them. I know. I picked up the pen, wrote December 20th, 2024. I don't know when exactly I came back to myself, but one morning I woke up and the coffee tasted right again. And I knew. I closed the notebook, set down the pen. Outside, snow was falling. The oak tree stood in the yard, strong and silent. Everything was the same. Everything was different. I was home. They say grief changes you. But betrayal? Betrayal unmakes you. It takes every memory you have and asks, was that real or was I blind? Every Friday dinner with my daughter, every laugh, every hug, every moment I thought we were building something together. Was she already planning it? Or did I push her toward it? I'll never know for sure. What I do know is this. I spent 15 years building a legacy, but I forgot to build a relationship. I worked 80-hour weeks to save my husband's company. but I lost his daughter in the process. Jasmine didn't betray me because she was evil. She betrayed me because she felt invisible, and I made her that way. This morning I sat at my kitchen table. Yellow tablecloth. Miles Davis playing. Williams Blue Mountain coffee filling the air with memories. I took a sip. It tasted right, not because the coffee changed, but because I came back to myself. I found my way home. And home isn't a company or a bank account or a legacy on paper. Home is this, the taste of coffee on a Sunday morning, the sound of jazz through old speakers, the weight of a red leather notebook in your hands. Home is knowing who you are, even when the world tries to convince you you're disappearing. Home is the quiet dignity of choosing truth over revenge. Home is forgiving your daughter even when it hurts. Home is being present. The coffee tastes right again. The oak tree still stands. The roots are still strong. And that's how I know I'm home.